World War II erupted and Europe was engulfed in flames. Countries, one after another, were caught in a struggle for survival. Nazi Germany, led by Hitler, broke through the borders with a well-equipped army. Cities after cities fell, and millions were left homeless. Berlin, the capital of Germany, was the heart of this war machine. As the Allies and Soviet forces advanced, Berlin was surrounded. The city was under severe economic and military pressure. Food, fuel, and vital resources were severely limited. Ordinary people, children, and the elderly lived in inhumane conditions. Famine and hunger became their daily nightmare. The markets were empty. The streets were filled with long lines and despair. Mothers anxiously distributed scarce bread among families. Children with hungry eyes searched for every morsel of food. The elderly prayed with trembling hands and hearts full of anxiety. The sound of bombs exploding was getting closer every day. Fear had turned life into a nightmare. They expected air raids and destruction at any moment. The city had become a cold and merciless place. The winter of 1944 was mercilessly cold, and the lack of fuel added to the problems. People could not even warm themselves. Every alley and street was filled with shadows of fear. Citizens used the smallest resources to survive. In every house, the smell of hunger and despair wafted. Children cried silently. Mothers impatiently searched for food. The city was filled with empty sounds and the howling of the wind between the ruined buildings. But one cold grey morning, the roar of airplane engines pierced the sky. People ran to windows and rooftops. Hearts trembled and minds prepared for disaster. Everyone expected explosions and destruction. But something strange happened. Food parcels fell from the sky, quietly and without explosions. Bread, canned goods, and essential supplies landed on the ground, replacing the deadly bombs. At first, people could not believe it. Eyes widened and mouths dropped open. Screams and cries of surprise echoed through the streets. Men and women rushed to the parcels. They picked up the parcels and distributed them among their families. Children tasted real bread for the first time in weeks. Smiles and tears filled the streets. Women distributed the parcels among their neighbors so that no one would go hungry. Men helped the elderly and children receive their share. The initial shock slowly turned to joy and excitement. Berlin, a city that had been on the brink of destruction, breathed again. This experience reminded them that humanity can overcome violence. People learned that even the smallest help could save a life. The streets resounded with cries and thanksgiving. Children played and smiled again. Mothers distributed packages among neighbors. Men helped the elderly and children to get their share. The initial shock gave way to joy and excitement. Berlin, a city that had been on the brink of destruction, breathed again. This experience reminded them that humanity and empathy can overcome violence. People learned that even the smallest help could save a life. This memory remained in the minds of later generations. International support exemplified the importance of morality and solidarity. Besieged Berlin became a symbol of resistance and hope. No bomb could destroy the love that was formed in this moment. The city came to life again, and life flowed. The sounds of laughter and joy replaced the screams and panic. This event was a great lesson for the whole world. People learned that in the midst of the most difficult conditions, hope can survive. American air support not only delivered food, but also restored morale and life. This experience showed that humanity has the power to win even in a brutal war. People realized that the value of life is higher than power and politics. Solidarity and cooperation between people can work miracles even in critical situations. This event became a lasting story about salvation and hope. Children looked to the future with a look full of wonder and joy. Women and men celebrated a unique experience with tears of gratitude. Citizens understood that hunger and terror, no matter how intense, cannot destroy humanity. This story became a great lesson for future generations. Besieged Berlin left behind a memory of resistance, love, and hope. People learned that even the smallest action can save a life. Ultimately, the experience reminded everyone that hope and humanity can overcome darkness and destruction. Subsequent generations preserved this memory as a symbol of kindness, empathy, and courage. Besieged Berlin remained an example of the triumph of humanity over war and violence. People realized that even in the midst of destruction and famine, love and hope can be life-giving. This story is a symbol of the fact that human life is more valuable than power and politics. And this was the story of Berlin, a city that came back to life from the siege with help and humanity.